I'ma treat you like in my last cigarette. 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 I'ma treat you like
Hope it don't end the
in my last
same
cigarette.
way. About to start another day.
I'ma treat you
I'm a
like
freedom,
in
baby.
my last cigarette.
About to start another day. Hope it don't end the same way. About to start another day. Hope it don't end the same way. About to start another day.
I'ma treat you
I'm a freedom,
in my last cigarette.
baby. About to start another day.
I'ma treat you
I'm a freedom,
in my last cigarette.
baby. About to start another day.
I'ma treat you like in my last cigarette. 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 I'ma treat you like
Hope it don't end the
in my last
same
cigarette.
way. About to start another day.
I'ma treat you
I'm a freedom,
in my last cigarette.
About to start another day. Hope it don't end the same way. About to start another day. Hope it don't end the same way. About to start another day.
I'ma treat you
I'm a freedom,
in my last cigarette.
About to start another day.
I'ma treat you
I'm a freedom,
in my last cigarette.
What is going on? We are back and black in the building.
In my last cigarette.
Another day, another Sunday. You know I'm gonna hit y'all with it. Did Jesus come back? Oh man,
Treat you
y'all been teaching Sunday school,
I'ma
and y'all been speaking in tongues.
treat you
You know, doing all this other shit. But the dominant society is still going oops upside your head. I said oops upside your head. Man, what is going on? Shout out to everybody out there. Hey, my cousin Mariah, Tasha, Shawnee, Erica. You know the people I normally deal with. Shout out to everybody in the Twitter space world. One of my sister Sharon, man. We be going at it in the Homegirl Line Crown. Shout out to my brother David from No Compromise TV. Go check out his podcast. It's dope. Man, we got a lot to discuss. We have a lot of stuff to talk about today. I just noticed that they passing all these bills and giving up all this money,
in my last cigarette.
but we don't got a goddamn reparations bill. That's what I'm tripping off of. Those are the things that I want to know.
In my last
So I got that picture up of everybody praising Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi is a career politician. We're going to get into all that today. We're going to talk about how it relates to the corpse plantation. We're going to talk about what books we should be reading and studying. We're going to get into all that, man. And let's just hope that people are doing more studying and reading and understanding who they are as a people than going along to get along and being a conformist. Let's get it. Hey. Got this down. Man. It is so much going on. So much going on. So much. Man, where do I begin? You got all these bills that are being passed. You have all this other stuff, but yet reparations is not on the forefront. But you want, shout out to the homegirl Nuke too, and the homegirl Roxanne. Shout out to them too. Had to make some CMOS for them. Nuke, your CMOS is made. If you're listening, it'll be ready for you tomorrow. But anyway, shout out to everybody that's been supporting. Shout out to people that recycle black dollars. Period. Don't matter, man. Motherfuckers think as a black business that you got to be a millionaire overnight. No, it's a process. And you got to be consistent. And make sure your product is up to par. And make sure your business is up to par. Shout out to the rapper The Game. I can't wait to listen to his album. I'm getting so tired of people treating Game like he's crazy. He's not crazy. For him thinking that he's a better lyricist than Eminem. Why is it that why you can't think you better than Eminem? That's my perspective. And he's a guest in the House of Hip Hop, like Lord Jamar said. And Eminem's a dope lyricist, but that doesn't mean that I can't root for my people. You better go check out those Floyd Mayweather fights. Every time you fight a Latino, them Latinos come out in droves to cheer for their people. But when we cheer for our people, we feel like it's a cardinal sin. You know, we was having this spaces, you know, I might upload it tomorrow, man, but it was a space that we had these brothers on there, and they were really dope brothers. And they was like, I don't like hearing this talk. We're giving white folk too much props, and, you know, these concepts are tearing us down. And I had to stop him, and I had to say, look, first of all, reading Dr. Frances Welsing's The ISIS Paper, that's our Bible. That teaches us about racism and white supremacy. You know, you may not like it, but that's imaginary to think that racism and white supremacy doesn't exist. And what do they have that we don't have? And I said labor, law, politics, sex, religion, war, economics, entertainment, education. Need I go on? You know what I mean? We got to understand that. We have to understand how this system works and how it works. This infrastructure, they built the infrastructure around us. So they put us in the middle, and then they built the infrastructure around us. Racism and white supremacy is very prevalent in the United States of America Incorporated. It's prevalent in the world. And if you don't have the compensatory counter-racist code by Dilly Fuller Jr., or the ISIS Papers by Dr. Frances Welsing, or Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome by Dr. Joy DeGruy, or Slavery by Another Name by Douglas Blackman, or They Came Before Columbus by Dr. Arvin Van Sertima, or need I go on? You better get those books. And I had to tell these brothers as I was hosting the space, I had to tell these brothers, look, man, you're dealing with a lot of black Christians who were bereft of this knowledge. They didn't have this knowledge. So they didn't know that this stuff existed. I didn't know who Dr. Claude Anderson was in the 90s. I didn't know who he was in the early 2000s. I didn't know about Dr. Claude Anderson until about 2013. That's when I knew about Dr. Claude Anderson. And I'm not afraid to say that shit. And a lot of other people just now finding out about Dr. Claude Anderson. I read 3 out of his library pack. I just haven't read Dirty Little Secrets 1 and 2. But I've read the Black History Reader, Black Layer White Wealth, and Powernomics. That's how I found out about Hayward Shepherd. And I think more people need to do that. And we were saying the same thing, but I had to keep it in context for that brother, because he just kept saying, well, what is all this talk and all this other stuff? And this is no diss to people, but we can all talk over the internet. We can all talk over the internet, and we can all do that. But that's individualism too. We have to understand that there's a certain class and group of black folk who have been socialized and socially engineered a certain way that, hey man, you don't need to depend on the dominant society. You can do it and build it yourself. And that's real. But there's a lot of black folk that have been taught and raised and socialized that go to school so you get you a good job, and you go to church and you pray, read your Bible, pray every day, you go to heaven. And you can't discredit those people because that's the way they've been socialized. And that's what I was trying to tell that brother, both of the brothers. I'm like, y'all don't understand. Y'all looking at it, that's linear thinking. Y'all looking at it from one perspective. Everybody grows up differently. And if here, I'm telling you, a grown-ass man, that I've just now heard about Dr. Claude Anderson in 2013. You know, that may sound like a long time ago, but it really isn't that long ago. You know what I mean? Because after you learn about these people, now you have to put what you've learned into practice. And that's very difficult when you haven't been socialized to be an entrepreneur, you know, not to depend on the dominant society. So we have to take that into a big time consideration. And we don't want to do it because as individuals, we like, well, I don't have to depend on them. Why don't y'all do it? You know, and that's a great mentality to have in theory, but everybody is not as strong mentally as some other people are. You know what I mean? And that's why it comes down to the dominant society. You passing all these other bills. What about reparations? You gave age of the hate crime bill. You give it all this money to these immigrants. Yeah, no diss to my immigrant brothers and sisters, whatever. But right now, this isn't about y'all. And I notice every other racial group is taking offense to black folk coming into their blackness, their likeness, they're liking what they're learning. You know, they're vibrating at a different frequency. And a lot of other racial groups are not liking that because they feel they want to be inclusive. They want everybody to in my personal opinion, they want everybody to that is black stop talking about reparations and include everybody else. Now you have the Latino community. I got love for my Latino community, but a lot of my Latino communities, the people in there, they ain't got no books, no references, or nothing. They just running their mouth. And that's the thing that you have to understand. You can't reason with ignorance. People are not coming with facts, and they're not coming with documented history. You should just walk away and be like, I don't really have much to say. Why? Because where are the references and books so I can go read them so I can get your perspective? You're just going off what you saw on TV. See, I don't talk from looking on TV. I talk from what I've read and what I've researched. You know what I mean? And when you're talking about books like Slavery by None, they ain't mentioning no Latinos. When you're talking about Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, they came for Columbus, and how the Moors were coming over here to Americas thousands of years ago, they ain't talking about no Latinos. They're not talking about Latinos when you're talking about Del Marvis, Patty Cannon's The Devil on the Nanticoke River, and how she was just god awful to black Americans, Native blacks. You got to go read that book. I got that book from another book. I got it from The Sweet Taste of Liberty, Henrietta Woods. If I'm not mistaken, I got it from her. They was like a part of this kidnapping clubs where when you would get slaves and then you get ready to put them in slavery, it'd be other white people that would kidnap your slaves and then kind of try to resell them. And Patty Cannon, she was god awful. She's so bad that slave jumped out of a 3-story building and broke every bone in her body because she just wanted to get away from these people. That lady was so god awful that she had a slave that was pregnant and it was a mulatto, ended up being a mulatto baby. So she knew one of them white motherfuckers was fucking on that slave. So instead of her going at the white motherfuckers, she killed the baby. You know what I'm saying? And just talk shit. She just got off. Then they was trying to cultivate the land and farm and shit, and the land kept sinking. They're like, what the fuck is going on with this land? Man, they start digging up the land, all kinds of black dead bodies all over the goddamn land. Cause she just killing niggas just for the sport. They ain't talking about no Latinos there. Shit. You know what I mean? I got all kinds of books. All kinds. You got this book called Stolen, about the 5 free boys kidnapped into slavery. Very good, very, very good book. The author's Richard Bell, a white guy. You know, maybe motherfuckers read it, because you know motherfuckers don't want to read nothing unless white people wrote it. You know what I mean? You know, that's why I feel like in today's society, we need to understand. I always bring this up in my Twitter spaces. Why motherfuckers up there talking about we don't need reparations, don't need no handout. Okay, well then talk that shit to Martha Washington, who owns 17,500 acres of land. I'm gonna keep bringing that shit up because people don't. That's not a subject that people talk about. They don't even like to bring that shit up. You can find that in the Never Caught, the Untold Story of Una Judge. That was Martha Washington's slave. And George Washington had a little bit of money, but he didn't have as much money as Martha did. People don't know. The dominant society, the women in the dominant society, they had endowments, so they were inheriting all kinds of property and land from Thomas Jefferson and all their so-called founding fathers or whatever. That wasn't nothing but white supremacists who wrote rules to keep us in bondage and to make sure that the dominant society is living well. But I'm just telling you what it is and what I've seen. We have to come into the know. Stop going, I was even telling the brothers too, I'm like, look, you have to understand, man, everybody doesn't have that mentality. Some people have to go to these corporate America jobs. So what do you tell a person that doesn't know nothing but corporate America? Oh, fuck those white people. That doesn't even register to them. So, and then it was another brother then that was like, man, I agree with what this brother's saying. He was agreeing with me because I said, had I not read the ISIS papers by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and Black Labor, White Wealth, and Powernomics, and had I not read those books, I would not have known how to maneuver in and out of corporate America. I wouldn't have even had a mentality to try to get another stream of revenue, because most corporate America jobs, they just want you to solely depend on their revenue. They don't want you venturing outside. They don't want you having no side hustles. You say, well, Warren, why you didn't have that? Nigga, I didn't have that because I wasn't socialized that way. I socialized, go to school, get you a good job, and go to church, read your Bible, pray every day. And that's good in theory if there was no racism, white supremacy, but with racism, white supremacy being the global infrastructure, not just the United States of America Incorporated's infrastructure, that's a global infrastructure and a system that's maintained. When you're dealing with that type of system, you can't be, in my personal opinion, well, I'm just gonna go to school, get you a good job. Okay, go ahead, go get that good job. And then when these white folk are moving the goalposts and nigga every other 5 seconds, and because you know, in the United States of America Incorporated, in certain parts of the United States of America, it's not overt racism, it's covert racism. It's, oh hey, you know, you're doing really good, you know, such and such, and then behind closed doors, he's not gonna cut it. White folk do that shit all the time. As Dr. Frances Welsing says, tell us what's being said when we not in the room. I don't want to hear that bullshit. Like, I don't want to hear nothing about all that. You're like, what do you mean? I don't want to hear none of that. You're doing good. You got, look, for all you dominant society people, when you hear somebody say, you got a future here, you better say, oh shit, nigga, the okey doke is coming. You better really start looking. Oh, the okey doke is coming. The thing too that people are not taught, black folk are not taught, when you get these corporate plantation jobs and they start paying you a decent salary, start reinvesting that into who you are. So you're not so dependent on, because as Dr. Claude Anderson teaches, a job is meant to maintain you. It's not to make you rich. You're not gonna get rich unless you're investing in yourself and reinvesting in other things. If you had a corporate plantation job and they got stock bonds, 401k, you better invest in that shit. As Dr. Boyce Watkins talks about. You know, if you need to cash in and do things that you want to do that shit. But we got to stop believing in these politicians. Stop voting. Shout out to the homegirl, Sister Sharon, man. We had these spaces and she was just like, we don't need to vote. She right. Yeah, you don't need to vote. It was funny. Me and the homies, we went into Hot Juicy. I never seen so many niggas in Chinatown in my life. I said, God damn, it was a whole bunch of niggas over there. And Chinatown is slick because they had a whole bunch of Americanized businesses over there. Before Chinatown used to be strictly Chinatown, I said, why is it so crowded over here? Because they had a lot of American business over there. But then you go on the west side, you don't see no really black businesses like that. You got Annie's. And that's pretty much it. No, we're not mentioning Mario's because that's owned by a Latino in a predominant black neighborhood. Now, when you go to Eastern and Charleston, which is a predominantly Latino business acumen area, you don't see no nigga businesses over there. These are just things that I feel like we have to come into our own and understanding about, man, and stop thinking that if you get the European education, that everything is going to be fine and everything is going to be all right, and then you'll be okay. You're going to go to school, get you a good job, and pay your tithes, all that. I'm not telling you to pay your tithes. I'm not telling you not to pay your tithes. But I'm telling you this, you better reinvest in yourself. You better try to come up with another stream of revenue, and not just solely dependent on them. Have your different hustle. Get your name out there in a different. You don't want to be associated as the person that work at the corporate plantation. You want to be associated as the person that, oh yeah, shit, that motherfucker he be selling sea moss. That motherfucker be making incense. That motherfucker, like, you want to do that. Because if you don't do that, you're going to be boxed out of other streams of revenue, and you're going to be you're going to be boxed in as one-dimensional. You just work a job. And last but finally, when people try to shame you into voting, tell them, I'll vote when black folk get reparations. Stop pushing these democratic views. Fuck the Democrats. They don't care about no niggas, just like the Republicans don't care about no niggas. Remember that. These motherfuckers don't care about you. If they did, they would do the things that they would do, like pass bills. And it was about healthcare, like $750 billion. Like, man, we've been talking about healthcare for 30 years. Y'all just get like Canada. Just raise the taxes, get like Canada. Now you ain't got to be worried about no motherfucking healthcare. You just go to any hospital, nigga, bill me. And you ain't got to be sitting up here waiting for somebody, you know what I'm saying, to wait for a procedure to get approved and all this. It's like some of this shit, you just be like, God damn. No wonder the United States of America Incorporated is hated by all these other countries and shit. We got to remember that, man. Straight up. These people ain't your friends. But hey, you already know what it is. You know what it ain't. I always say it all the time. It's hard to stay in your own lane because you look at how other people are prospering. But remember, perception is people's reality. So you may look at somebody else's lane and think that they move so much faster than you. It's not just that. They're just working harder than you. And they're probably working hard at being committed to their lane and not worried about what the fuck everybody else is doing. And that's very difficult. And we have to start treating each other like family, not relatives. We have to stop doing that. And we have to stop offering up other people's services without consulting with the person's services you are offering up. We have to stop. There's a lot of shit that black folks have to stop doing. And one thing we have to stop doing is when you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. Like, get away from people. You don't have to. People be acting like you got a gun in your head and you got to hang around the same people. No, you don't. Get around like-minded people like me. I'm very introverted and very much a recluse at this point. Motherfuckers ain't got a business acumen mentality. I kind of just get away from them because you're just wasting time. Another thing too, let's stop being time wasters and stop allowing energy vampires to come around you. If you ain't talked to a person in years, then you talk to a person, they still talking the same bullshit and they ain't progressing, they ain't doing nothing, get away from them. If you choose to stay around them, then that's on you. But me, nah. That's why I don't hang around a bunch of niggas. I got love my niggas, you know what I'm saying? But man, I don't have time to be hanging out. And I don't have time to be sitting around shoulda, coulda, woulda. I gotta put shit into action. So I don't have time to be sitting around here. I'm not voting for no motherfucker because they're a Democrat. I'm not voting for no motherfucker because they are Republican. Y'all gotta understand that, man. Stop allowing people to coerce you into things that you're not even knowledgeable about. When people, and stop explaining to people, look, every other racial group right now know exactly what anti-black racism is. They know what that is. They know what white supremacy is. Stop trying to, well, see, this is what it is. They know what it is. If you're going to explain it to your people. Don't be explaining it to other racial groups. That's just a time-wasting mechanism. They just want you to waste time and get all emotional about stuff to them that doesn't matter. Just because somebody want to listen to you don't mean they empathize with you and care about what you're saying. They could just be wasting time or want to be entertained. Stop being the entertainment for all these other racial groups. Be the entertainer for your people. You know what I'm saying? Stay in your lane, love, live life. Don't be worried about what this person say, what that person say. Man, niggas gonna talk shit anyway. Stop worried about what the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Marcel Dixon, man. Motherfucker. See, the LGBTQ community, they talk all this shit about how black folks is homophobic, all this other shit, and he's a part of that community, but we support him because he our brother first anyway, so it don't matter. And why the fuck do I care about what his sexual orientation is? The nigga talking reparations and talking that real shit, so I'm gonna be with it. The dominant society will support a mass shooter, a mass molester, a mass killer. They'll support him. They'll do a GoFundMe and raise $800,000 for a dominant society person. But black vote, the only black person, oh man, I don't like his Jordans. So we won't support him. Or I don't like what he said. Or we always trying to figure out some angle. Oh yeah, he fucking that bitch, so I don't fuck with it. Man, I don't give a fuck what a nigga's doing in their personal life. If you talking that reparation shit and that real talk, cool. I deal with it all day. Niggas will go to church and give all their finances to a preacher they don't know. You know what I'm saying? So he can look good and he can bring the word. Why we can't keep that same mentality when it comes to political formats? Why is it you got people like Sheila Jackson Lee? She's a non-foundational black American. Why would she care about black folk? That's why they keep doing this study and prolonging it, and they're hoping that black folk forget about reparations. I told y'all, don't ever forget that shit. The white Jewish community don't let you forget it. And their travesty and hardship happened in Europe, but we're still paying reparations for them today. Now, why is it what has happened to foundational black Americans is in the United States of America Incorporated, and we ain't received one repayment? And every time you bring it up, you got people like Joe Biden talking about, why do I have to pay for what my ancestors did? What the fuck does that mean, nigga? Like, some of these people, man, I don't get it. And then you'll still go vote for him. He'll go on the Breakfast Club. If you don't vote, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. Joe Biden don't even know who he is. He don't even know what time it is or what day it is. He don't even know what year it is. And people still like, I'm going to go vote for him. Like I said, I remember black people up there talking about, you vote? I was like, nah, I vote when I get what is needed. I vote my interest. She's like, see, that's the problem. I say, no, that's your problem. I said, have you ever read Black Mary White Wealth by Dr. Claude Anderson? And she didn't say nothing. No, because you just going by what somebody told you. You're not doing the research for yourself. Like your vote really counts. Okay, well, if it counts, hold it, leverage it. But hey, man, that's my time. Hey, man, shout out to everybody on this Sunday. You know what I mean? Making it do what it do. We have to understand what it is. I appreciate everybody listening. You know what I'm saying? I guess I'm going to start trying to build up my subscriber shit on here. I've been kind of lazy. I got to start sending it out to people. I don't say, you know, I sometimes I get lackadaisical and get comfortable just with the people I deal with, like Shawnee, Erica, Tasha, Mariah. I'm cool with that too. I ain't no here clout chasing. But I feel like, you know, I got to kind of step it up a little bit myself. So I'm going to be changing formats and doing more Twitter spaces and uploading them and doing other stuff, man, so we can, you know what I'm saying, make this channel grow in a good way. But I mean that. Stay away from people. Look, family, friends, all that. My family, they know. I got relatives, I got cousins. Niggas want to come around when they want something. Then I got cousins that didn't have access to hundreds of thousands of dollars. Nigga ain't never heard from them. Now that niggas ain't got shit. But, well, they know not to come around me with that shit. You know what I mean? But, you know, everybody has different rules, regulations, or policies and procedures and boundaries. I just create boundaries, and I don't want people habitually crossing those boundaries. And us as family, we have to respect each other's boundaries. Stop doing bullshit and sucker shit and thinking that it's all good. No, it's not. Respect people's boundaries. And last but not least, stop with the drama and stop being a carrier of drama. You know what I mean? Like, just sometimes it's just good to be like, nah, I'm not finna deal with that. Because that's the beauty of life. If you know how to cut off that drama and start focusing on the real, I think you'll be all right, man. Love, live life, stay in your lane, and go check out all these bills that Congress and them is passing, but they ain't passing no reparations bill, though. And that's the only thing that counts for me, because the minute I get my reparations, I'm out. Nigga, peace out. The check ain't even got to be in the mail. I'm going to be like, I quit. Shit, fuck that. Nigga, you ain't finna have me working no job for 80 years, and then nigga after I work the job, nigga can't get a hard dick, nigga can't do shit, man, fuck that. No, nigga, all these medications, all shit, man, fuck you. But y'all already know what it is, you know what it ain't, man. Just know I don't know podcast. Hey, man, love, live life, stay in your lane, and you already know what it is, man. Hey, man, I'll get at y'all probably Tuesday. I'm out. Peace.
Hope it don't end the same way. About to start another day.